Hey, it's Jordan. I'm here in Flint at the Public Library. There was just an event on campaign finance, which was odd because it's the 5-year anniversary of the water crisis. Here with Don Pfeiffer, you're actually running for mayor. Wanted to ask you, I actually just spoke with Congressman Kildee. We had found that the testing that was done by the Department of Environmental Quality under Governor Snyder, this started in 2016 to 2018, there was a lot of cases we found, 35, where they were flushing residents' water lines right before taking samples, which is totally against EPA regulations. Unfortunately, like, the mayor knows about it, Congressman Kildee has known about it, but nobody's publicly said anything. Do you find that concerning, that the testing was manipulated and therefore...
So it's not only manipulated, they send it in a brochure when they send you the jug to test. It tells you to flush and run 30 minutes and then fill the container. And there's no way, I don't care how much they do from the street to the house, that water can be safe running through that line. It can't happen. So the only way to fix that in the immediate is to filter on every single house as it comes into the house until we can get the mains done. You've got a bunch of people that are unqualified to run for mayor, career politicians. You've got 2 people that were involved heavily in the crisis that started with the bankruptcy of the city. You got the vote for the Chariton water system. And then you got a current mayor that can't fix the problem. I'm a contractor. Everything that's wrong with the city is dealt with on a contractor base. The blight, the homes that need to be still tore down, the reconstruction of some of these homes that can be saved and salvaged. You got the fix of the mains, you got the water plant. All of the stuff that needs to be fixed is contractor based, and dealing with contractors. And how she thinks she's capable and qualified is amazing to me.
Let me ask you a question, because what I think is really important about this, we actually were told by the EPA that the Department of Environmental Quality, they were not even supposed to be going into residents' homes and testing. They were supposed to leave the testing kits for residents to do. So it's not only that we found they manipulated the data, they were testing when they shouldn't have been. This is like Erin Brockovich in our story called this a crime. It's cheating. So if the data was compromised, wouldn't you have questions? What is the current real lead levels? If the data, you're running for public office, wouldn't you want to know, well, wait, if they did it improperly, A, how pervasive was it? And B, don't we need testing that's overseen and done the right way?
We need a third-party testing company to come in, unbiased, unstructured to any bonuses or anything of the sort, unpolitical.
No EPA grants.
No financial backing whatsoever, and come in, which means you're going to leave a lot of the schools out of the equation because they've got financial money going in. So you got to have an outside source that comes in unbiased and purely test each and every house. One, the copper lines that have been replaced, the old copper lines. Let's see the difference. What changed between a new and an old copper line? Because my house, one of them has copper, so they didn't touch it. The house next to me that I own has galvanized lines. They haven't touched it yet. And so I'm curious to see what the difference is truly. So it's hard to send the sample out because you don't know if you're going to get a true result. They're saying our water's safe to drink, but 2 days ago you start to notice another smell coming out of the faucets. If you're running the hose outside, you get to break those free, right? Because we finally started getting some nice weather. But so those bypass my whole house filters, and you can smell something stagnant in that water. So there's no way that we're even close to having this crisis fixed.
And let me ask you, because Thursday is the 5-year anniversary, and the media, national and frankly here, I mean, I'm sorry, Flint Journal, but you're not doing your job, has just regurgitated what the state officials have told them and what the EPA has told them. So there's this been narrative, nationally, there's been a narrative that Flint's lead levels are improving and now meeting EPA regulations. You're running for mayor. I mean, based on what I told you, do you trust that, or do you?
No. How can you trust government at all? And so you're going to get somebody that's going to run for mayor that voted for the Flint River, Sheldon Neely, and he's going to try to manipulate the system again.
When you say that, you mean voted to switch it to the Flint River?
Switch it to the Flint River because he wanted Chariton, and they were in trouble.
For my audience who is not from Flint, Chariton was the basically the replacement pipeline that they were building, and that's why they went to the temporary Flint River.
Yes, because they angered Detroit, so Detroit cut them off. So they had no other choice in the interim but to go to the Flint River. They pushed the hand and they lost. So they played bad politics and it bit the hand that fed them, so Detroit cut them off.
It's actually interesting because there's emails that show Detroit at the last minute offered a discount on the water to keep Flint as a customer, but Flint always said the state said it was monetary. We switched to the Flint River because we were going to build KWA, Karagandhi, because Detroit was charging us too much. But Detroit, there's emails showing they were offering a 50% cut. So there really was no cost savings going to KWA.
What's interesting to me about this whole point is at the time that all this chaos happened, there was an emergency manager in Flint and Detroit. And for some reason, the governor couldn't force the hands to make one decision and bring a local group. Same as we have the Flint Bishop Airport. They couldn't bring a consortium together and force Detroit and Flint and the local counties to come together. Instead, they manipulated bonds to build another water line that we didn't need. And currently, Flint has no plans to get on that. We don't have the monetary means to restructure our plant so that we can actually bring the upgrades to the plant and start treating our own water. So currently, we don't have a backup plan. If Detroit fails tomorrow and there's a purge in the system, there's no backup plan for the city of Flint. My thoughts and my fear would be that somehow they manipulate the Flint River water again and don't tell us and start running it through our lines again because there's no plans for a backup. So that's the fearful part, that they're going to do that again because there isn't a backup plan.
And I want to ask you, big picture, we knocked on 450 doors, me and my partner. We heard from a lot of majority black residents that they feel like the water crisis is really just kind of an effort to just push poor black people out. Whether it was intentional or not, the reaction or lack of reaction by the government, there's talk of like the master plan to make Flint more of a yuppie college town, make downtown beautiful, get rid of the north side people. And it's not like a few people, it's a lot of residents feel, particularly minority residents, that really the water crisis and the lack of action. I mean, if this was in Manhattan, this would have been fixed in maybe 6 months.
Well, not only Manhattan, so I spent time in New Orleans right after Katrina. It didn't take 5 years to restore all of New Orleans after total devastation. We're talking about water lines that needed to be replaced. The money was already here. I guaranteed the last time I run that I would have fixed it in 2 years. We're up on 2 years. She's not even close. She's not capable of fixing it. And there's no way that any resident in this city is going to trust government in this shield of secrets right now that they won't give us true answers on.
So keeping it real, the current mayor, African American, you're a lumberjack white dude. So for black residents that might be open to looking in another direction, how are you going to help those impoverished people on the north side? How are you going to help? I mean, the YMCA's are closed, schools are closed. One resident on camera with us said, it looks like a damn forest in our streets. You have rows of empty lots, the land bank buying up properties.
I don't think that this crisis or this issue with the city of Flint has anything to do with black or white. This is purely greed. And the powers that be or the powers that want to be are in this for the money. There's a huge land grab, and I see it. If you drive down, back when I was graduating, you didn't go down Avenue A because Avenue A was extremely dangerous. I went down Avenue A a couple weeks ago. There's nothing left of Avenue A. It's completely vacant. It's grass. And come this summer, it's going to be tall grass with no means or methods to ever change that. Until we fix the water, until we fix the crime, we fix blight, we bring business here without being on the shoulders of the downtown groups. We have to truly bring business, and we have a lot of things to offer. We have the Karagandhi water, which is raw water. We have a lot of opportunities. We've got 5 colleges local that companies can cherry pick from some of the greatest minds available. We have a lot of things to offer, and property is very abundant. Industrial, commercial, residential property. Flint, the city of Flint has it all. So it's going to take somebody that's going to think outside the box on how to fix this instead of into another political box on how much money can we manipulate and barely get by so we can win another election.
And you know, it hasn't been talked about nationally, but obviously nationally right now there's a huge discussion about Medicare for all versus other healthcare plans. I don't know why, but I've never heard anyone talk about should these residents that have been poisoned have Medicare for all. Because I've talked to residents that are paying out of their pocket tens of thousands of dollars for health problems that they didn't cause. As mayor, as a candidate, do you feel, would you push for that, for these residents to get Medicare?
It should, because I know that because I had a child that was under 6 when the water crisis hit, and there was policies written that he has health care until he's 21 or 25. I don't remember the number. Obviously, he's on my health care. We never went down that. We just soon let people that need that have that. But absolutely, there's a lot of elderly people in our community that are still here, that can barely get by, that are struggling in every community, whether it's cleaning up their yard, whether it's, because of prescription cost, whether it's associated to this or not. I think that's where we need to protect our elders. And we've already got programs in place to watch after our little ones after the lead crisis. I think it needs to be expanded for everyone that needs it. And that's not an uncommon thought. That's not something that just I think. I think every candidate, if polled, will think that exact same way. If not, they should really not be running for public office.
So you're for Medicare for all for Flint residents because of the crisis?
There has to be something we don't know what this is going to, what the repercussions of this is going to be. This is 5 years. What happens after 10 years? Just because I look fine now and I was exposed to the water, what happens in 10 years? What happens in 15? What does the body truly do to all the lead toxins at that point? We don't know. It's untested.
And I also know that residents that we've spoken to have had a bone with the mayor because they've been yelling and screaming, it's not just lead. There's bacterial concerns, TCHMs, but they're not testing for those things. Filters can go bad, and they breed bacteria. What are your thoughts? Should there be, obviously that's the state would have to supply it, but should they be testing for other things? Because chlorine, sometimes there's too much chlorine, sometimes there's too little chlorine, and bacterial problems. Lead got the headline, but it's not just lead that was in that water.
And fluoride and the rest of them. So I truly believe let's stop yapping about fixing the lead lines. Let's put a filter in every house and put it on a managed system where the water department comes through once every 3 months, replaces the whole house filter, and eliminate the crisis. Let's get to basic. Let's get to ground basic on all of this, meaning let's fix it at the house. And then let's worry about the infrastructure problem like every other community that's our age has got the problem, because it's not just us anymore. But let's fix us. Let's put it in every house that's got operational water, and let's fix the problem from within.
My last question, how long are you dedicating it would take if you were mayor to change all the service lines? And B, nobody's talking about the interior plumbing in people's homes. Jesus can bless the water anew in those brand new pipes, but the inside of the homes were damaged too. That's usually homeowner's responsibility, but the homeowner did not switch to the Flint River. What are your thoughts on how long would it take you to finish the service line replacement? And B, should there be money from the state, because obviously Flint's not rolling in it, towards looking at people's interior plumbing?
So this is a great opportunity to talk about a works program. Bringing up youth that don't have jobs. Let's skill trade some of these young men and women, and let's start teaching them plumbing. This is something that I approached a while ago in my last campaign. We have a lot of unemployed people still in this city. that are looking for jobs and working with Mott and working with Baker and through some of the U of M, the colleges. And let's start training, because not everybody is book smart. Some people can watch and figure it out. They can work with their hands. I've made my financial well-being with my hands. I can always fall back on them. So let's teach some of these people that want a job, that are interested in a trade. Let's teach them a trade as we go through and we replace all the cartridges on all the water spouts in our homes. Let's check to see if those lines are galvanized. Galvanized is essentially the problem. They're the ones that rust on the inside. If it's already got PEX, if it's already got copper, if it's already got PVC lines, it's clear to go. Let's drop a filter in, a whole house filter. Now we know at the point of entry, the house is protected.
You're not talking about the flimsy filters the state was handing out on the faucet. You're talking about
I'm talking about right when the main line comes in, we've protected our showers, our bath water, and our drinking water, our refrigerators with our ice machines. We've protected the whole caveat. We've protected our pets. With the hoses, we've protected our lawn from any more chemicals being dumped into it if you water your lawn.
You're talking about a whole house filtration.
Talking about a whole house cartridge filter. It's fairly inexpensive. It's a few hours to install. It could have already been done. So we're not worried about 900 people sitting in line with their cars, dumping how much money in their fuel tank to stand in line to get 3 cases of water. It's just not sustainable.
I lied. One more. We're debating nationally whether we should have a $755 billion military budget or a $733 billion military budget. I'm not asking you what you think about the budget. What does it say that we have endless money for war and bombing other countries, but 5 years later, an American city does not have clean water? They could push out the numbers saying they do, but I think you and what we found, it's very suspect whether the water's clean here. And this is a first world country. What does it say that we're debating an insane amount of money for the military, for tax cuts for the rich, those kinds of things, but a city here, we're turning 5 now, this water crisis?
You got a congressman that stood before us tonight that talked about the president's taxes. Instead of vouching more money to fix the water crisis, he's over this territory. He's over this region. And he thinks he's done enough, because according to everybody, the water crisis is over. But according to my family and the residents that sat at this hall, we're not even close. So until we can get a third-party testing company in here, till we can put a whole house filter in every home, until we can start talking about getting the infrastructure fixed in its entirety and upgrading our water plant with honesty and some integrity, instead of just throwing another campaign slogan about we're almost done, until those things are done, we're not close.
Where could people find out more about you, your campaign, all that?
Facebook, Don Pfeiffer, email don@donpfeiffer.com, and that's DONPFEIFFER.com. I'm available 810-519-2300, open for ideas, suggestions, and criticism.
I think you're going to regret giving your number, because our audience is pretty hardcore, so you'll get some calls. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com, where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.